Hello, hello, mega orderers. I am Jason Pack, host of the Disorder podcast, and I seem rather well positioned to address the question: is Gary Lineker an accidental anti Semite, or is he just courting the likes and essentially has no idea? I feel very well positioned to answer this question for many reasons. One, my Disorder podcast was launched in co-production with Goalhanger Podcasts, owned by Gary Lineker. We worked with them for 18 months. We've only just left the network. I met Gary Lineker twice, but simultaneously, I also speak Hebrew and Arabic and have lived in the Middle East for 7 years and feel very attuned to questions of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. So jumping right into it, for American listeners, you might say, who cares? Who cares if one specific British ex-footballer makes some anti-Semitic posts or not? Well, you're missing something here. Gary Lineker is a national treasure here in the UK. He would be like if you combined Michael Jordan, John Madden, and Rupert Murdoch. In other words, he is a incredibly famous former sportsman and national hero. He's also an owner of a huge bit of media, which has a unique purchase on British life, particularly in the center. And then he is the most famous football commentator in Britain, and his match of the day and Rest Is Football give him popular cultural purchase. And then this issue is even more salient because the BBC has contracts quite different from how American sports presenter contracts are, in that the presenters are not allowed to express their own personal political opinions, even in their personal time, not just on air for BBC. So to the issue at hand, he retweeted a quote-unquote explanation of Zionism with a rat emoji, and that explanation of Zionism was incredibly oversimplifying, saying that essentially the Jews and the Zionists sought to take Palestinian land. The post was anti-Semitic. That is open and shut. I think that he may not have realized it. And what I want to say about Gary Lineker has some comments on the enduring disorder, which is that the way that media information spreads today, people don't know what they're spreading, and non-experts get to have views. He is a decent human being. He's a humanitarian. He wants to help migrants, and I think he wants to help Palestinian children from being killed for no reason, but he doesn't understand the larger context that he's operating in, and therefore his good intentions may end up with non-good results. And that's the nature of the enduring disorder, because there are no longer mediating institutions like newspapers and think tanks. Most people get their information from tweets and Facebook and podcasts, which are not fact-checked, and there's no editor. This kind of content would not happen and be viral in the 1950s. No one cared what Michael Jordan had to say about Zionism, because that wasn't his role. We're in a different world now. And if the BBC stands for anything, it's a mediating institution. And it can't have interactions with people like Lineker, who are just expressing their opinions or retweeting others willy-nilly. I think that Gary Lineker now understands that what he reposted was inadvertently anti-Semitic. He should have known better, and now he knows, and he's not going to do exactly that again. But this has been a pattern. He made other comments comparing the situation of migrants coming to the UK to that of people fleeing Nazi Germany in the 30s, which is obviously an absurd comparison. And we're speaking of a well-intentioned man who wants a centrist way of doing politics in the UK, which is why he put Alistair and Rory together, and why The Rest Is Politics is the go-to Bible for Remainers, from the anti-Corbyn left all the way to the Remainer Tory center-right. But Lineker's impulses to be a do-gooder can only go so far if they don't accept expert mediation. He needs to be promoting the work of neutral experts and historians on these questions, not influencers in 2-minute clips. So it is a bit of a shame that he would play the role of disorderer when I see him as wanting to order. He presents as a modest person when you meet him face to face. He comes from this fairly humble Midlands background, and he is a national hero and a national treasure. But I guess everyone should stay in their lane And I feel sorry for him to face all this blowback, but he's got to not make these kind of mistakes that not only offend people, but they play into tropes whereby it seems that it is socially acceptable to be anti-Semitic. If you made these kind of comments about blacks or Hispanics or a monkey emoji with blacks, obviously that would get you canceled immediately. That's not acceptable. And the problem today is that people feel like, oh, the Jews or Zionists, they have power, so it's okay to take them down. Like you can attack white heterosexual Christian men or Jews and Zionists in ways that it's no longer acceptable to attack minorities. And that's unfair because Jews have been persecuted for 20 centuries, and people don't understand the way in which anti-Semitism is mobilized in the Middle East to dehumanize Jews and allow their being massacred in things like October 7th, but also the range of missile attacks and assassinations abroad and attacking the Jewish Community Center in Argentina and things that wouldn't happen in other contexts if that group was not so dehumanized. So we have to speak out against this very unfair dehumanization and the way in which the BBC and other centrist actors in British and Western and English-speaking political life allow this to happen. They don't crack down on it the way they would against other form of hatred against exposed groups. So we at the Disorder Podcast are trying to order the disorder, point out this injustice. We're sorry, Gary. It was really nice to work with you until the end of April 2025. We know you mean well, but you've really got to just have experts who mediate the people. You got to have experts who mediate what you say and pass along accredited opinions, and don't platform people like Albanese, the UN special rapporteur, who is packaging some bizarre anti-Semitic narrative. So that is my 2 cents. We hope that ordered the disorder. Please check out the Disorder Podcast. Follow the links in this YouTube video. Subscribe to the channel and hear more hot takes from me, Jason Pack.